Hello, how's it going? I'm Andy and welcome back to another episode of Scratch Building Basics. In this episode I want to try and design a bot or a droid using lids, screw top lids. I'm starting to get up quite a collection, so the idea is just to design a bot or droid around those, just using those. So yeah, that's the plan. And I'm going to be focusing the next 2 or 3 videos on this subject, so if you're up for the challenge, go for it and build your own. And if you send me in your pics, I'll post them in the next video. And if you can't think of anything to build, sure, just copy mine and give it your own spin with a paint job. And like I said, yeah, I'll show the pics in the next video. So before I start some drawing or some sketching, I've had a request for another shelf tour, so maybe do that first.
Alrighty, so there's my work area. It's looking a bit better now. I'm starting to find places for everything. And then my shelves, you probably noticed I've put my first 2 channel supporters' names up. So thank you Matthew Holly and David Nandron. Matt Holly there, he actually bought Pyro the flame bot. So thanks Matt. And then David Nandron there, he was my first coffee supporter. So thanks very much David, appreciate it. And if you want to get your name on the shelf, there's links there in the description. So this is pretty much every build so far. Well, bar a few that I've given away, like the hot rod ship. I'll maybe have to build another one of those just for myself. But yeah, I think I've got a video for all of these guys, including the polymer clay tiki heads there. And this guy's just got his rust coat, he needs a final coat of something. Another PVC bot there needs a final coat. And yep, that's a tiki, a carved there just from a brush shaft. And yeah, that's all the guys. That's my army. Still plenty of room, plenty of room. And then top shelf, a few more polymer clay sculpts there. That's Ted the troll. And then his buddy there, the baby dragon. And these are just Sculpey or polymer clay. And a couple of attempts there at doing a skull. A few prototypes there at the back. And then onto my Turd Gnomes. I used to carve like gnomes with turd hats with sweet corn and stuff in them. And Gizmo there at the back. And yep, a couple of bits and pieces. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I say, still loads of room for more builds, so I don't need to worry about that. And of course, thanks again there to Matt and David. And I've actually ordered a few tins of primer and a few tins of clear coat, so I'll get my paint shelf stocked back up again. And a couple of wee carvings there that I actually use for paint handles, just blue tack on the top. And all my paints, some more paints, got some neons there, haven't really tried those yet, I have to give those a go. And yeah, that's about it. And you'll see there just under the shelves, I finally got my hands on a laptop. So I'm looking forward to using that, editing on that instead of my phone. So yeah, let's get into some sketching. Alrighty, so lids, like this one, this is what I'm talking about. I'll set that up there. And yep, bring this in, this is some of my lid collection. And these are pretty cool, these are like seasoning lids. Pretty cool shapes on those. And then slightly larger ones here, these are like sauce lids I think, and they're pretty cool as well, but I don't want to focus on any of those just yet. What I want to look at are these, the slightly smaller bottle lids. And then I've got a load of these like blue milk bottle lids, they're slightly larger. Oh, that's pretty cool, but not this time. And I'm doing this because, well, it's good fun, and as well as that, out of all the junk that I collect, these blue lids and the smaller sort of pop bottle lids are building up the most, to have the most of these. So I thought, let's try and design a droid just using those. So I stuck a few together here just with blue tack, just to get an idea of the size and shapes I'm going to be working with. And I'm thinking just a simple wee droid, like a BB-8 style droid. But I'll put these to one side and get the paper out and do some sketching. And for now, like I was saying, I just want to keep it nice and simple, just working with a couple of simple shapes and just seeing how I can put them together to make a very simple wee droid. and I've just sketched it out here first with a pencil, and then I'll go over to here with a felt tip just to so you can see it. So I'm thinking 2 stuck together there for like a roller base kind of thing, and then 1 stuck on top, just for a simple head. And I'll close the head off there with some plastic card, and that's about the height of it, I'm thinking, for the simple design anyway. But my plan is to start with the simplest design, and then I'll work my way up to sort of more complex builds. I'll probably add arms and maybe weapons and things like that later on down the line. At the moment, it's quite hard to imagine where I'm gonna go with these, as far as making them more complex. But I'm hoping the more I design and the more I build them, that I'll come up with something. You know, that's the point, to sort of getting all this down on paper and sort of just going through ideas, just to see what works and what doesn't. Now those first 2 are pretty similar, but now I'm thinking, what if I was to put the head on like a stalk, kind of raise it up off the body. Now these are all probably gonna want to fall over, so I'll either have to add some weight to the bottom, or just put a couple of studs on the bottom so they stand up on their own, or worst case scenario, I'll build a wee base for them. But either way, I'm not really worried about them not standing up on their own. I'm really digging that one with the head raised up off the body there, so I wonder if I can make it a bit more chunkier, and just maybe use some of the smaller lids with the larger lids, just to fill it out a wee bit more. I just finished the shading on this guy, and that's 4 droids done. But I think before I put the paper away, I think I've got an idea for 1 more. Don't know, I think that was maybe a better idea in my head, but sure, all good to get it on paper anyway. So there we go, there's some fairly simple bot or droid designs. Obviously feel free to work away if you want to build these, I'd love to see them. I'm probably going to stick with the first one there, so let's get some building done. First things first, I'll just get these sanded, just to make sure they have a good bond. And then I've got a piece of styrene or a plastic card cut and ready to go here. I'll give it a light sand as well, and then get my mat protector down. And for a bit of weight, I've got these nuts and washers. I thought maybe if I put those in, they'd give the base a bit of weight and maybe help it stand up on its own, but I haven't much faith in that. And yeah, so get that glued up. I'll get this piece of styrene glued on, and that's pretty much the base and the head. I'll obviously have to trim that styrene, and I've got a couple of cable ties here. I'm going to use it like a reel sort of, or tracks around the base, and it's just from the roll on. You know, I just thought it made more sense, so I'll make sure to give that a quick sand. I might want to make sure these stick and get them glued up, and get a wee bit of baking powder on. I don't want it to be too messy, but just get some of that baking powder underneath just to make sure it grips. And yeah, that's one on. Just need to get the other one done. Give it a dust off there. And yeah, that's the tracks on. Good to go. It just looks a bit more convincing now that it could actually roll. And I'll get this trimmed up with my scissors. Just get the most of it trimmed off with my scissors first. And then I'll just clean it up with my sandpaper. I want to make sure it's nice and flush. And that feels pretty good to me. I'll just get this mess cleared up, and then I can move on to a few more wee details. So he's gonna go together something like this, and then I'm hoping with having that weight in the bottom and that sort of nut loose inside there, it's gonna help him stand up on his own. A bit like a weeble wobble, I'm hoping, but fingers crossed anyway. So I'll just get my mat protector back, and I've already give round his face here a bit of a sand so I can glue his eyes on. And I've just got the ends of the cable ties here, and they're going to make cool wee eyes. I was going to cut some small pieces of this pipe and just stick those on as eyes, but I'm going to use up these bits of cable tie. I might as well use them up, and they look pretty cool. So yeah, like I said, I've already got the front piece sanded off here just so they stick, and yeah, just get them glued on. I'm not going to use any baking powder. I want to keep it nice and neat. And then for a wee aerial detail, I've took some, this is just some sprue from a model airplane kit, and I just heated it up a wee bit here with a lighter and just stretched it out, and it's just going to make a nice wee aerial detail. And then what I do in the end is I stick a wee bead on the end of it just to round off the end of it a wee bit. But yep, that's how you do that. Just heat it up a wee bit and then stretch it out, and just be very careful you don't burn your fingers. And this bit here just didn't stretch out as much as the rest because I waited too long and it cooled too much. But yeah, so I'll just get those cut up and stuck on. I just used my craft knife there just to cut a wee hole in his head and to stick that aerial in. And then just for a wee bit more detail, I have these, they're like wee half gemstones. They're sticky back, but I am going to glue them on anyway just to make sure. But just for some extra detail, I'm going to stick a couple in the middle of the wheel here and maybe one either side. And that's about the height of it for detail. And on to paint. And obviously, I had to make him a friend. There's no way he was just going to be on his own. So yeah, that's all the details done. Simple wee lid bats. For his body here, I'll just give him an extra wee gem there on the top just to make him a wee bit different. But yeah, you can see in the bottom here, I added a couple of wee gems just so they would stand up. They weren't standing up on their own. Well, they were at a point, but you couldn't have breathed on them or they would have fell over. So yeah, I stuck those wee gems on the base there just to help them stand. And yeah, that's him ready for some primer, and then give him a nice wee paint job. But before we do that, big shout out to Darcy Williamson. He sent me in some pics of this kick-ass ship he built. Apparently this is his first scratch build. So yeah, great job man, looking good. I can't wait to see that painted up. He's got it as far as primer stages, but he still needs to paint it. So nice one Darcy, and feel free to send in your own builds. I'll always stick them in a video. So I've got some brown here mixed, ready to go, and my colours out on my wet palette. I've got some clay, some country maple, and some khaki tan, and this is going to be for my stipple coats. And then for the base coat out here, I've mixed some brown and some black, just to make some dark brown. So yeah, I'm just going to give it a coat of this dark brown first, all over. Same as usual, if you've seen any of my painting videos before, you know the score. Just a dark coat first of a nice dark brown or black, and then I'll go around or down my wet palette here through the colours, just stippling these on. And you could use as many colours as you want really for the stipple coat. I've used up to 8 colours I think at one point for a stipple coat, and the more the merrier really. It adds just way more texture and sort of variety to your rust coat. So obviously the more rust that's showing, it looks a lot more convincing. So yeah, just continue down my wet palette, down through my colours, giving it all a stipple coat, being careful not to completely cover up any of the work that I've already done. And that's a stipple coat done. As you can see, it doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it's covering all the areas that you know you're going to be leaving exposed. So I'll just set him here and get his mate done, and then I can move on to some colour. So for the colour, I was going to go for some orange, and this is just some pure pumpkin and some cadmium yellow. And what I've done is I've mixed some of the cadmium yellow with a wee bit of pumpkin, just a wee bit, and I'm going to put it on like a base coat. So what I'll do is fill it in just up to the edges and leave any of that rust coat exposed that I want to leave exposed on the edges. And yeah, that's the yellow base coat. And then what I'll do is take the orange or the pure pumpkin and then just use my base coat as a guide. I want to leave some of that yellow poking out from underneath my final pure pumpkin coat, and just to sell that weathering a wee bit more. It kind of makes it look like the paint is worn naturally, and has been sort of baked by the sun or whatever, or scraped off naturally. So yeah. Now for my nemesis, masking tape. I really want a nice clean sort of white stripe down this guy's head, so I'm gonna put my masking tape on and stipple on some white paint, and then hit it with a cold hairdryer just to be able to get another coat on quickly, and hopefully it won't peel the paint. And we're good. Nice one. Happy days. Last time I peeled masking tape off, all my paint came off with it. And yeah, so he's looking good. Nice one. That's him ready for some clear coat. I don't think I'm going to do any more chipping or weathering on them. So I'll get his mate done and get another wee stripe done, and then they'll be ready for some clear coat. And yeah, very happy with these guys. Simple wee droids. That's just what I was looking. So back to me in the craft room, and then I'll show you some glamour shots.
So there you have it, a simple lid droid. Next week I'm gonna try another just more complex build using the same thing, lids. So until then, as always, I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions or comments, you just know where to go there, down below, work away, and remember, there are no stupid questions here. And do me a wee favour and subscribe and like and share and all that good stuff. And if you fancy supporting my channel and helping me out a wee bit, there's a Patreon link there in the description and a wee coffee link as well. So I'd appreciate it. It all helps. And so yeah, until next time, bye.